click on SQL logo, you will get the prompt and it will ask for username and password. Your username is Scott and the password is Tiger. Username is Scott and password is Tiger. Click on OK. We'll get the SQL prompt on the screen. Next, what we have to do, we are going to create one table over here. Create table employee 3. Then the columns we want to define in this table are create table employee 3, employee ID or employee number, whatever you want to take. Here employee ID, then its data type is number. Exactly beside the data type we will write the name of constraint. Here I want to apply the constraint primary key to this column. For that I am writing primary key beside it. These are our keywords. Primary key છે એ keywords છે. Employee ID ને આપણે primary key define કરીએ છીએ. Then name of next column separated by comma. You can continue on the same line or else you can jump on to the next line. તમે next line પર પણ લખી શકો છો, same line પર પણ continue કરી શકો છો. emp name, fine, varchar 2, length is 40 over comma. The name of third column is city and here again data type is varchar 2 and the length is 15. Bracket over, one more bracket over and semicolon. Table is created. As I show you in the previous lecture, we can not repeat the value for the column which is declared as primary key field. This must be a unique number. જે primary key field આપણે define કરીએ છીએ. Here in this case, in our case, employee ID is declared as a primary key column. So we cannot enter the duplicate value in this column. આ column ની અંદર આપણે duplicate value enter કરી શકતા નથી. That we learnt in the previous session. Fine. Now today we will learn the composite primary key. What is composite primary key? Let us see. Composite primary key means when you apply a multiple columns for a primary key, when you apply a multiple columns, a primary key on multiple columns, then that columns are known as composite primary key. જ્યારે આપણે એક કરતાં વધારે columns પર primary key apply કરીએ છીએ એને composite primary key કહેવાય. I repeat, આપણે જ્યારે એક કરતાં વધારે column પર primary key apply કરીએ છીએ ત્યારે એને composite primary key કહેવાય. Let us see the syntax of composite primary key. અહીંયા આગળ આપણે primary key multiple columns માટે કેવી રીતે define કરવાની છે જોઈશું with the help of syntax. For that you have to go with the second way, that is table level primary key only. જ્યારે તમારે composite primary key define કરવાની હોય ત્યારે તમારે second way implement કરવો પડે. Here let me show you how to define a primary key at table level. For that move back to SQL prompt. Through this example we'll apply only on the single field. Then I will show you how to apply a composite primary key or how to define a composite primary key. Fine. So here I am writing create table. Employee 3 is already created, so I am going to create employee for the name I want to keep employee ID, same as the first table, number 3, number, then bracket, then 3, bracket over. Here I will not define any constraint, directly comma, then employee name is another field for this table, and the data type is varchar2, inside the bracket, length we should mention, it is 55, comma, city, varchar2, and the length of this field is 15. Now what is next? Comma, I will write constraint, the name of constraint, recall કરજો આપણે આવું કરેલું છે, pk underscore empid. The name of this constraint is pk underscore empid. Then which constraint do we want to apply on this field? We will mention primary key. These are two separate words, so don't forget to keep the space between these two words, primary and key. When bracket begin, employee ID is the field on which I want to apply a primary key. This is an example of a single column primary key using the second way, that is a table level constraint. Fine, bracket over and then semicolon. Fine. Now what is next? આ જે એક્ઝામ્પલ હતું એ સિંગલ કોલમ પર આપણે પ્રાઇમરી કી અપ્લાય કરી છે. હવે પછી આપણે જે એક્ઝામ્પલ લેવાના છીએ that will cover how to define a primary key for multiple columns. Okay, so I'm going to take one more example over here. Let me see the syntax first. Create table, then table name. Here the table name parameter shows the name of your existing table. Table name will be replaced by your existing table. Inside the bracket we will define the columns for this table. Column 1 data type, column 2 data type. Sorry, I want to do one correction in syntax. Create table, table name means the table which you want to create, and inside the bracket column 1 it's data type, column 2 data type, as we are doing normally. Fine. Then at the end of column names again we will do the comma. Here you can see the comma. After that we will write the constraint keyword, then name of constraint. Here we will specify the name of constraint. અહીંયા આપણે constraint નું નામ આપશું. Then the name of constraint, and then type of constraint. Primary key I want to apply right now, so I will write primary key. Here you can see the pointer where I have written primary key. Then inside the bracket you have to specify the name of column on which you want to apply your primary key. In previous example, inside the bracket I wrote only the name of one column, but if you want to apply composite primary key you have to write the name of one or more than one column name separated by comma. તો અહીંયા column name 1, column name 2, column name 3 જેટલાથી તમારે એને સેપરેટ કરવું છે that you can specify over here. તો આ જે છે આ એની syntax થઈ. On the next slide we will show the example. અહીંયા તમારી સામે એક example છે, એની અંદર મેં ક્રિએટ કર્યું છે એમ્પ્લોયી 1 નેમથી એક ટેબલ ક્રિએટ કર્યું છે with the constraint pkeid, and here is an example of composite primary key. Let us define this. આપણે એના માટે create table કરાવીએ. Move back to your SQL screen. This is an example number 24. Journal ni under, as I told you that તમે નોટ ડાઉન કરતા જાજો all the examples in a sequence. મેં પણ અહીંયા numbers આપેલા જ છે. That sequence you have to maintain your journals as well. So here I will write create table, then name of table, employee 5 is a name of table. Press enter and jump on the next line. Bracket begin. EID is a name of first column and the data type is number and the length is 4. I will not specify the type of constraints over here because I want to apply a primary key on more than 2 columns. Fine. So I'll specify directly the name of another column. Yes, another column, that is team ID. Data type is number and the length is 3 only. And next is name field. Data type is varchar. Length is 20. For the sake of simplicity, I am keeping the length of the fields are small. Name and then address varchar 2. Fine. Or you can take city. For the sake of simplicity, I am taking city name only, varchar 2. Then the length is 10 only. Then comma, jump on the next line. I will write constraint pkeid is the name of this constraint. Then which constraint do you want to apply on this fields? That is primary key. Here we will write the simply primary key, not the composite primary key. Keep in mind, અહીંયા પણ આપણે ખાલી ને ખાલી primary key લખવાનું છે, નહીં કે composite primary key. Primary key, inside the bracket, name of columns on which you want to apply a primary field. Here EID and the second column is team ID. Bracket over, one more bracket is over and then semicolon and press enter. Here you can see the message on the screen, that is table created. Let us see the structure of this table using DESC command. DESC employee 5 semicolon and press enter. See here, if you observe the null column, it specifies not null in front of EID as well as not null in front of team ID. This both column will jointly work as a primary key for employee 5 table. I repeat, in front of EID you can see the not null constraint as well as in front of team ID you can see the not null constraint. This both will work as a composite primary key for employee 5 table. This is the structure of employee 5. આપણે અહીંયા employee 5 table create કર્યું, એમાં composite key કેવી રીતે apply કરવાની, composite primary key કેવી રીતે apply કરવાની, એ પણ જોઈ લીધું. Now next, how it is different than the normal single column primary key, એ જોશું. તો એના માટે we will insert some record in this table. આપણે થોડાક જે records છે એ આ ટેબલની અંદર insert કરશું. Here you can see the data I want to insert in employee 5 table. Insert into employee 5. Here consider the table name employee 5 instead of employee 1. Okay, insert into employee 1, values are 100, Avni and Rajkot. Let us insert parallel, insert into employee 5, employee 5. I'll not specify the name of column here because I want to enter the values in each and every column of employee 5 table, so no need to specify the column names. Insert into employee 5, values 1 comma team ID is 100, then the name of employee is Avani and the last city name is Rajkot. Okay, bracket over and semicolon, press enter. Got the message, one EID and team EID both are working together, બે સાથે કામ કરી રહી છે. Here the value is 1 and 100 in the first record. Jointly, if we see the first record, the value for EID and team ID is 1 comma 100, whereas in the second record you can see the value 1 comma 200, which is different than the first one, Here I repeat, the value in the first record is 1 comma 100. These are the part of primary key. See, EID 1 and team ID is 100. In the second row, EID is 1, but the team ID is 200. So both are different. Both records are different. Let me insert one more record in the employee 5 table. Insert into employee 5. Now the value is, insert into employee 5, values are, I'm going to change the value for EID, that is here I have taken 2, and the value for team ID is 100. Fine. And the third field, name field, is Krishna, and the city name is Rajkot. The last two fields are varchar fields, that's why I have enclosed that two values in single quotation mark. Don't forget it, and don't forget to put semicolon at the end of your query and then press enter for the execution of that query. Yes, here again one row created. Let us compare all these three records. The first primary key is, the primary key for the first row is 1 comma 100. For the second record, the primary key is 1 comma 200. Here I have taken 2 comma 100. 100 is repeat, but the EID value is different than the first record. See, compare the first one with third one. Here the value for our primary key is 1 comma 100, and in the third record the primary key field, the value for the primary key field is 2 comma 100. Both are different values, so this will allow us to enter both the records. As you can see, the message, one row created on the screen. તમે સ્ક્રીન પર મેસેજ જોઈ શકો છો, one row created. શું reason છે? તો first record ની અંદર primary key field ની અંદર we have entered 1 comma 100, and in the third record the value of EID is different than the first record. The team ID is same. તો આખો રેકોર્ડ જો તમે કમ્પેર કરશો તો બે અલગ અલગ વેલ્યુઝ છે, રાઈટ? તો અહીંયા આગળ both records are different, એટલે બંનેને અલાઉ કર્યા છે. Now let we add one more record insert into employee 5 values are employee 5 values are 2 comma 100 comma Akriti is a name of an employee and the city is Rajkot. It is not compulsory to write Rajkot every time. To enter the value for city field is Rajkot. You can take any other name for this field. What says અહીંયા આ record enter કરવા દેશે કે નહીં, whether this record will be entered into our employee file table or not. Let us see. Press enter. You guess before you execute this query તમે એનું result છે એ guess કરજો કે એ execute થશે કે નહીં. Here I am saying that this query will be denied because અહીંયા constraint છે એ violate થાય છે. Here intentionally I am violating the constraints. See, you can see the message unique constraint violated. What does it mean? Unique constraint violated means આપણે જે constraint આના પર define કરેલું છે એ અહીંયા આગળ fulfill થતું નથી. The primary key is already entered in the third record, as you can see where I am moving my pointer. 2,100 is already entered, so we cannot enter the same value for next record. See, અહીંયા મેં આ repeat કર્યું છે 2,100. તો એ બે value છે exactly same છે. EID is same as well as team ID for both the records are also same. So અહીંયા આગળ આ જે છે આ record આપણને allow કરતું નથી. ટેબલની અંદર આપણે આ રેકોર્ડને ઇન્સર્ટ કરાવી શકશું નહીં. ક્લિયર? આઈ રિપીટ, તમે EID અને ટીમ ID બેઉને પ્રાઇમરી કી ડિફાઇન કર્યું છે. દે વિલ વર્ક જોઈન્ટલી, બે એકસાથે કમ્બાઇન્ડ વેમાં વર્ક કરશે એન્ડ ધીસ ઇઝ કોલ્ડ કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કી. તમે EID અને ટીમ ID એવરી ટાઈમ જો રિપીટ કરવાના હો, ઇફ આઈ all the time repeat EID and if I take team ID different, then that records will be allowed by the Oracle. But જો તમે every time બંને ફિલ્ડને સરખા રાખશો તો એ allow કરશે નહીં, as we have seen in the record number 3 and record number 4. Composite primary key કેવી રીતે define કરવી એ concept તમને સમજાઈ ગયો હશે. આના જેવા બીજા કોઈ એક્ઝામ્પલ્સ તમે લઈ શકો છો. યુ વિલ ગેટ ઇટ ફ્રોમ ધી બુક ઇવાન બેરોઝ ઓર યુ કેન ગો થ્રુ ધ ઇન્ટરનેટ ઓલ્સો. તમે નેટ ઉપર સર્ચ કરશો તો પણ તમને આવા કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કીના મોર એક્ઝામ્પલ્સ યુ કેન ફાઇન્ડ ઇટ ઓન ઇન્ટરનેટ એઝ વેલ. તમને એના પર મળી જશે. નાઉ વોટ ઇઝ નેક્સ્ટ? The next topic is how to drop a primary key constraint. Primary key constraint ને આપણે drop કેવી રીતે કરાવી શકીએ? So we have already learned the alter table command of Oracle in previous session somewhere. આપણે alter table command છે એ સ્ટડી કરી લીધું છે ક્યાંક આગળના સેશનમાં. Here again you can use the alter table command for dropping a primary key constraint from your existing table. Let us move back to our SQL screen. What we will write here, we'll use the alter table command of SQL. Let us see the syntax of alter table first. For that I will write the keywords alter table and the name of table which is already exist in your Oracle database. Oracle database ની અંદર એવું ટેબલ કે જે એક્ઝિસ્ટિંગ છે એની અંદરથી આપણે કન્સ્ટ્રેન્ટ છે એને રિમૂવ કરવાનું છે. For that you can write alter table, the name of existing table. On the next line, drop constraint. Again these two words are reserve words of Oracle, and then name of constraint you want to drop. જો અહીંયા નેમ ઓફ કન્સ્ટ્રેન્ટ ક્યારે પોસિબલ છે? જ્યારે તમે ટેબલ લેવલનો યુઝ કરો છો, એનાથી તમે પ્રાઇમરી કી ડિફાઇન કરો છો, દેન ઓનલી યુ વિલ બી એબલ ટુ ડ્રોપ ધી કન્સ્ટ્રેન્ટ ફ્રોમ યોર ટેબલ. ફાઇન, ટેબલની અંદરથી આપણે ડ્રોપ કન્સ્ટ્રેન્ટ કરવું હોય તો ઇટ ઇઝ કમ્પલસરી ટુ ગો વિથ ધ સેકન્ડ વે ઓનલી. તો આપણે જે લાસ્ટ એક્ઝામ્પલ્સ જોયા એની અંદર આપણે ટેબલ લેવલનો જ યુઝ કર્યો છે. તો આપણે એની અંદરથી આ જે છે ડ્રોપ કન્સ્ટ્રેન્ટ કરીએ છીએ. મૂવ બેક ટુ SQL સ્ક્રીન. Here in table 4, in employee 4 table, we have applied the primary key on EMP ID field, and the name of constraint is PK underscore EMP ID. PK underscore EMP ID. For that I will write, I want to drop this constraint. For that I will write alter table, space between alter and table, the name of your existing table, that is employee 4, alter table employee 4. What do we want to do? We want to drop the constraint name PK underscore EMP ID. I will write drop constraint PK underscore EMP ID, and then semicolon, press enter. Table is altered. Now using DESC command you can see the structure of employee 4 table. See, under the null column in front of employee ID field, not null constraint is missing. અહીંયા not null constraint છે એ missing છે. So we can say that the table is altered and we drop the constraint PK employee ID. અહીંયા આગળ આપણે જોઈએ છીએ કે not null constraint missing છે, એના ઉપરથી આપણે કહી શકીએ કે constraint છે એને આપણે drop કરી દીધું છે. Let us repeat the alter table drop command. We are going to apply this alter table command on one more table, on employee 5. For composite primary key, alter table, which table you want to alter? Employee 5. What do you want to do? I want to drop the constraint, so I am writing drop constraint. Which constraint do you want to remove? So here I want to remove PK underscore EID. PK underscore EID is a name of constraint. At the end, semicolon, and press enter. Table is altered. Again DESC command, DESC employee 5 and semicolon. See here you can observe that not null constraint is missing. અહીંયા not null constraint છે એ missing છે. In this way you can drop the primary key from your table. Here you can see the example number 26. Example number 26 is shown on the screen. So this all about primary key, how to create a primary key at column level, how to create a primary key at table level, then what is composite key we also learned, then how to define a composite primary key using the second way, that is table level constraint we applied on the table. And at the end of session we learned how to drop a primary key which is already applied on our table. આપણે અહીંયા આગળ આ સેશનની અંદર પ્રાઇમરી કી ડિફાઇન કરતા શીખા બે મેથડથી, કોલમ લેવલ પર અને ટેબલ લેવલ પર. સેકન્ડ આપણે સ્ટડી કર્યું કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કી કેવી રીતે ડિફાઇન કરી શકાય. કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કી માટેની સિન્ટેક્સ એઝ વેલ એઝ એક્ઝામ્પલ ઓફ કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કી. એની સાથે સાથે આપણે કમ્પોઝાઇટ પ્રાઇમરી કી માટેના જે રેકોર્ડ્સ છે એ આપણે ઇન્સર્ટ કરીને જોયા. દેન વી ઓલ્સો લર્ન how to drop a primary key constraint from the table. આપણે ટેબલ પરથી